The Fallout TV series is good. It's as simple as that. There's lots of discussion online around now about it's terrible, it's good, it's great, it's bad, it's terrible, it's good, and it's all over the place. So you may be wondering, what's actually the truth here? Is it good? Is it bad? Well, it's good. It's a fine show. It's not gonna blow you away with visuals, it's not gonna blow you away with spectacle, it's not gonna blow you away with scale. But what it will blow you away with is its ability to adapt the Fallout license in the Bethesda manner. It does a remarkable job of copying the base outline of the Fallout 3 plot. Your father leaves the vault, you chase after your father, you find out you weren't actually from the vault in the first place, and everything's gone topsy-turvy, you don't know who to believe anymore, and there is some weird MacGuffin that's tossed into the mix of everything, and does that fantastically. It also completely botches the ending, just like Fallout 3. I'm gonna spoil Fallout the TV show's ending, probably also spoil Fallout 3 ending as well, don't you worry. And the reason for that is, it is the worst minute of television I ever saw. So, in the Fallout TV show, we mainly follow the Vault Dweller Lucy, or Goosey, depending on who you believe. Lucy is from Vault 33, following the naming scheme that Bethesda likes, which is 101, 33, 76. And in Fallout 4, Vault 111. I'm absolutely surprised, same as you are, that Fallout 4's Vault number is 111. And Fallout 3's 101. It's just terrible. Bethesda's always been bad with their vault numbers. They're very, let's call it, video card naming. Or CPU naming. What do we call this one? 1. What do we call this one? 1-1. You mean 2? No, 1-1. That's essentially how they do their naming. But it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just a number after all. It's not important. Placeholder numbers seem to serve just fine. And so Lucy leaves to find her father, and in the course of finding her father, she realizes that Vault-Tec bad, the Wasteland people can't be trusted, and her naivete is more likely to get her killed than it is to put her in a proper position of value amongst any Wastelander. And she is taught this lesson time and time again by her two fellow compatriots in the Wasteland, the Ghoul and Maximus. Maximus is from the Brotherhood of Steel. The Brotherhood of Steel is handled horribly in this show. It doesn't match up with the video game's lore or, well, any lore about the Brotherhood of Steel. Now, the Brotherhood of Steel ain't good people. They ain't. They're out to withhold all tech from everyone else in order to have a dogmatic perspective on tech, which means they want to be in charge and they don't want anyone else to have the power. And once they're in charge, they can sort of conquer the world using classical chivalry-like commands, where they have a king, squires, knights, paladins, and, well, initiates. And by doing this, they have the ability to control their world, so to speak. And by doing this, they create a dictatorship through many means. And these many means are usually by fairly intelligent people. However, in the Fallout TV show, everyone seems to be from idiocracy. Their IQs are dropping faster than the radiation is. It's a real shame because it makes me not able to see myself in a lot of the characters' place in the TV show. Whereas in the video games, I can very easily understand the position of a lot of the characters and why they are doing what they're doing. For example, we have Maximus's friend in Initiate School who deliberately puts a razor blade in her own shoe in order to not go out into the wasteland. Now, from first glance, that makes perfect sense. The wasteland's scary. I'm gonna die out there. I'm gonna prevent this by any means, including hurting myself. The problem then comes when we go into the wasteland with Maximus and his new knight. I forget what the new knight's called. Atom? Atosis? Atriarch? I don't know. I'm sure he's got a good name. And he turns out to be a bumbling coward who expects his squire to defeat all enemies in front of him without any protection of the suit or any weaponry whatsoever.
Go see if the target's in there.
My lord, I don't have armor.
You earned the suit through acts of bravery. This is an act of bravery.
And once he does get defeated by, well, a bear, and the bear is defeated by the Squire Maximus, he starts sniveling and crying like an absolute piece of shit. And then Maximus decides, fuck you, you're gonna die, and takes the suit. And it's just a terrible perspective to choose for the Brotherhood of Steel. On top of all this is meant to be a super important mission in order to capture the MacGuffin, and they're only sending out one knight and one squire to do this, which becomes extra perplexing because at the end of the series, they send out a whole squadron of Brotherhood of Steel fighting against not the Enclave, not the New Californian Republic, just some random raiders? It's unclear who the true antagonist is in this show because her name is Moldova? I don't really know her name because she's literally in 2 scenes in the entire show. When she is first introduced and seals the father away, and at the very end of the show where she completes her mission and then dies. She doesn't even die on camera, she dies off camera. It's very disappointing, and it paints the Brotherhood of Steel in a really bad light because they're not fighting a strong foe. So they're not showing their best foot forward, they're just doing overwhelming force. And with their overwhelming force, they still lose to the ghoul, which brings up power levels, and especially ghoul power levels in this TV show. In this TV show, ghouls can recover from any injury in a second flat. And the only negative thing these ghouls have is they can lose their brain if they don't take a drug to keep their brain intact. That's it. And that's really disappointing because why would anyone want to be not a ghoul? Why haven't the ghouls conquered this entire planet through force of means? How would they ever lose? Because they can convert more people into ghoulhood by giving them the ghoul drug, which is shown in the TV show where we see someone's foot that's completely massacred by being stepped on by a giant robot, and then it just becomes perfectly normal. And then he's like, oh shit, am I a ghoul now? Oh fuck. And he runs away. We're not even at the worst minute of the TV show, and I'm not saying that this show is bad. I actually enjoyed 99% of my time watching the show. I thought it was really well shot, the costuming was great, the theming throughout the show was decent, and all the characters act like they were written throughout the whole show. But the problem is, it's this idiocracy that's going on. Another place where the idiocracy is shown quite barefaced is in the organ transplant removal shop thing, where we have these 2 doofuses who literally just sit on a couch staring at a TV going, yeah, yeah dude, yeah, what? Nah, you don't understand. Oh, I'm dead. And that's literally their entire plot, and it's frustrating because the Fallout games aren't stupid, especially Vault-Tec themselves. They aren't stupid people. They're all incredibly smart. The Enclave people are incredibly smart. The Brotherhood of Steel are very smart, yet everyone in this TV show has an IQ that's less than the boiling temperature of water. They're probably room temperature IQ almost. It is abysmally bad. And then we have the worst minute of television. This happens on the final episode. Around 32 minutes in, Lucy is confronting the antagonist and her father is in the cage.
Rose was so clever. Like you. Lucy, your mother discovered that something was siphoning the vault's water away. From that one clue, she deduced that maybe civilization had returned to the surface. When she told her husband, he said it was a ridiculous idea and that she should tell no one.
Lucy, let's go.
And that's when she realized that her husband, the overseer, was hiding things.
Lucy, let's go. Let's get out of here.
So she ran away. Like you did, Lucy. And took her children. And she found this wonderful city that was everything the vaults had promised.
She is lying.
But then her husband came after her. And when she decided not to return home, he took the children and he burned that city to the ground.
Bitch, are you for real?
And the antagonist says to Lucy, don't you get it? Your father, he's the one behind it all. And I'm just thinking, Lucy, why the fuck would you believe this mass murdering psychopath over your own father who is in a cage and has been clearly tortured for weeks on end? You're going to believe her over your father, even if your father was in fact wrong, was in fact the bad guy all along, it doesn't make any sense. And to top this off, there's a ghoul in the room that just happens to be Lucy's mother and has Lucy's mother's pendant, which was not brought out throughout the whole show. Lucy doesn't think about this pendant, dream about this pendant throughout the show, except for in like 1 or 2 very small and short scenes where she goes, "When I was young, I actually felt the heat of the sun. I thought it was real." And it's just, so badly done. A complete fumble at the end zone. And then the Brotherhood of Steel show up, and Moldova, instead of just pressing the test button for the cold fusion device, yeah, that's what the MacGuffin was, it was cold fusion, she just runs out and gets shot and dies. And then she tests the cold fusion device as she is dying. And all the city lights up. Way, we did it. By the way, Moldova is also from the past. She was cryogenically frozen. I think that's what they're making us assume and guess, but it's very unclear. And she also had a lesbian relationship with Lucy's mum, but that's also unclear. The only reason we can even hint at that is because she holds Lucy's ghoul mother's hand as she's dying. It's perplexing, to say the least. I wanted to like the show way more than the show wanted me to like it.
Okie dokie.
The show just didn't seem to care about the audience. They just wanted to have another crack at making Westworld Season 1. And the reason why I say this is the same writer and director from Westworld Season 1, and he got booted off the project in Westworld Season 2, and Westworld Season 2, well, it kind of went off a cliff. And he tried again in Fallout, but he didn't have the same resources and writers and creative talent that the Westworld Season 1 show had, and it falls flat when it comes to the minutia. The surface level details, really good. The under the cover, like, imagine you have like this really good painted car, but if you strip off the paint, it's all rust that's been painted, and it's just gonna bubble underneath the surface and cause you a massive headache. Because every time you chip away at this paint, you find more and more rust. And for me, the more I think about the Fallout show, the more problems I keep finding. Like, I'm picking at a scab and the wound's getting worse and worse. And having to do a review on this show has not helped matters, because I've had to think about this show more than I would like to. And if I didn't think about the show and just left it at the surface level, I would go away with a almost happy experience, except for that last minute of the show where it just completely fumbled the ball. I think you should watch it. It's not bad, but if you haven't seen Westworld Season 1, watch that instead. And if you're thinking about watching Fallout, maybe just watch Westworld Season 1 instead again, because it's way better and has a very similar plot, very similar agency, very similar themes, and very similar framing. Anyway, if I had to give it a rating, I'd say it's probably about 6 out of 10, and that's fine for an adaptation of a video game when most are like 2s or 4s or 0s out of 10. This one at least got the aesthetic down, got some of the lore down. It also shit the bed in the lore when you look at New Vegas and you look at Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 lore. Completely destroyed and walked all over that stuff, but it's not bad. I wouldn't hate anyone that went, "This show's actually good, guys, you should watch it, it's the best ever," because they just haven't picked away at the surface yet. They haven't got to the final episode and they're just looking at all the pretty lights and going, "That guy pretty light is red, he Vadered." That's probably a bit extreme, but you get what I'm saying. The more you look at it, the worse it gets. It's like an abstract painting. Anyway, this kind of went away from me. See ya.
Okie dokie.
I don't